It does not matter how bad things get in your life. I should know. I had two incidents in my life that really turned it in a different direction real fast. One, I was falsely accused of something that I didn't do, and it took me over 500 some days to actually prove that I was innocent. And I thought that you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty and not the other way around. But that's not how the system works. They will lock you up, they will throw the key away and accuse you and prosecute you as if they know that you did it with no evidence whatsoever. And the other incident that I had in my life is when I had a air conditioning unit blow up in my face and knock me back 6, 7 feet and a few feet off the ground at the same time. Caught me on fire, different degree of burns all over my legs, partially my face. I'm just glad I was quick enough to cover my eyes because it can have been more serious. And having glasses on at the time helped a lot too. But we have to stop listening to people's judgment that they have for us. They don't know your life. They don't know what you've been through. Some people will say, well, you married too late. Well, I look at them and I say, well, that means you married too early. I mean, if I married too late, what's to say that it's actually you just marrying too soon? But some people, you can't change their outlook of your life. Even though it's your life, they tried to run it, saying what you did right and what you did wrong. And I've seen so many people that when they get in their 30s and 40s, they act like, well, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. My life would have been better if I did this. But they got to realize that they got years ahead of them. You got 20, 30, 40 years ahead of them. Don't worry about what happened or what you did not do in the past. You got opportunity to make a new path. So make the best of it. Live like you're going to have 30 plus years left in your life. Always give more than you actually take. And I also hear people talking about society is going cashless. Over the UK, they're making laws that will prevent companies from actually refusing cash. Even here in the United States, they are doing the exact same thing. There is a bill on the table that they're looking at again to make it a blanket across all states that brick and mortar cannot refuse cash payments, which is a good thing because cash is legal tender for private or public domain locations. There are over 12 million adults that do not have checking accounts, credit cards. They don't live in the digital world. What we're going to do, just cut them loose and they won't be able to survive? That's just not smart at all. It's just not going to happen. The cash is embedded in the society so deep that it's not going to get replaced. A lot of people say, well, credit cards and debit cards are replacing cash. No, the debit cards and credit cards are replacing checks. For the last decade, cash sales has increased. Credit card and debit cards payments have been increasing. Checks, payments by check, has been on the decline. So the credit card is replacing checks, not cash. Look it up and you'll see that cash is not going anywhere. And people say, well, I do this and I make a little bit of money, but I can't really make a lot of money. Well, if you do something that makes $100, do it 10 times. Then you got $1,000. Do it 10 more times. You got $10,000. If what you're doing is actually working, just repeat it on a bigger scale. You don't have to find something that makes a lot of money with one transaction. It's just like if you want to save money, say something simple, say you want to save money for the end of the year so you can get Christmas presents for people. Well, you're not going to take your whole paycheck, your first paycheck, and put it in a bank and say, okay, there's my Christmas money. No. Then you wouldn't have anything to live off of. You take a little bit of each payment that you get and save it. You save $20 here each week. It's a small move, but repeated, it's going to be bigger. You also have to do things that you know that works for you, for your life. Don't worry about what other people think or what they may say about what you're doing. It's your life, not theirs. They don't have to worry about the consequences of what you do. You will. Now, you can listen to them, but don't let them control what you do. Something that somebody told me years ago about how to be financial free. They say making money is an action. That's true. It takes action to make money. Now, keeping money relies on behavior. Your behavior after you save that money. You got to make the money, but your behavior has got to be lined up by keeping that money. And to grow that money, you have to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. More you know, more action you can take, more money you can make, and your behavior by keeping the money. It just repeats itself. Get more knowledge to grow more money, take more action to make more money, keep your behavior of keeping the money, and just repeat. And the things I've seen on the internet of these states that are at the border, like Texas and Florida and all, where they are taking the illegals and actually busing them to Kamala Harris and Biden's home. That does send a message, especially when they get upset about it. Just sending 50 of them to their front door when we have thousands a day coming in. If they don't want to handle 50, how do they expect us to handle thousands a day at the border? It does make a point, but at the same time, it kind of beats the purpose of control of the border. Because yes, they are sending them up to the lawn's front door of Kamala Harris and Biden's front door. But at the same time, they are letting illegals into the country. Because as soon as they send them up there, there's no telling what them two hypocrites are going to do with them. They're going to send them somewhere else, and they stay in the United States. So that's not border control at all. Now, if they did it once or twice to make a point, yeah, that's more making a point and not really letting them in. That's just setting, make a statement that this is what we're dealing with. And this is just a little taste of what we have to deal with down here. Do something about it or we will, which I've heard that Texas is going to put things in place, laws or bills or whatever it may be, that will give them the right to control the border of their state themselves, to deport whoever they want that comes across illegally. Whether that falls through or not, I don't know. And back to stop listening to people's judgment of what they say you should or shouldn't have done, or you, like, they say that you married too late. Well, they married too soon. Timing is the key, and everyone has a different timing key, and only you know when that timing is right. Just because somebody gets married at 23 years old and has a successful life does not mean that you can get married at the same age and be successful as they were. It was their timing. You get married at 23, you may have the worst life ever because you have a different timing key. It's just like when I had kids and I saw social service treat every child basically the same. And that's not in a good way. They said, well, this child is this old and it should weigh this much. And they will go after parents if that child is underweight according to their data, their point of view, and try to punish parents for not feeding the child to have it at that certain weight. That's BS. Not every child at a certain age, certain sex, gender, whichever way you want, there's only two anyway, but not every child is going to be the same at the same age, not the same weight, not going to have the same amount of hair. But I saw them treat parents so horribly because they think a child should have certain weight at a certain age if they're a certain height. Even doctors will tell you that's not how it works. Because we all seen kids get 13, 14 years old and they are not that tall, and then when they get 16, 17, they all of a sudden, boom, they're 6'8". And then you see some that's, 12, 14, that's 6'1" already. Timing key. Not everybody's genes are going to kick in at the same time or in the same way. And that's the kind of people that really screws things up for the rest of us. I've seen that happen so many times. I've seen people have abundantly of food in their refrigerator and their kids eating all the time. But they still saying they're underweight. And I've seen some of them even been taken to court over it. And the judge looked at things and said, well, not every child is going to be at a certain weight at a certain age. That's just not how it works. So the case got thrown out. But just putting somebody through something like that is just unnecessary. They just have an agenda that they want to find them parents unfit so they can take their child away from them. That's all it can be. Or they're just stupid. Or both. I've seen kids being taken away because of it. And the ones I've seen of the child being taken away, they got the child back after a while, but it's like 2-3 years. That's a scar that child will never get over. Being away from their parents when their parents didn't do anything wrong. This world, people need to stop acting on their freaking butthurt feelings and do the freaking damn jobs with reality. Not because they don't think the child is getting fed or whatever. Look at the facts. But there's always going to be people that's going to put you down, accuse you of things that you never even thought of. And you're just going to have to fight and overcome it. Me being locked up for 500 some days, never seen the courtroom whatsoever for any of it. Just sat there. I will never, ever be 100% free from that. It will always be up here. And things every day will remind me of it. How screwed up the justice system really is. And I can see that personally, right on up to the people that's playing pretend up in the White House, that they think that they are the president. He's playing pretend. We all know, and it's been proven, that he didn't win. And they're getting we're getting no justice of things that he and all of his pals up there are actually doing. Just tearing this country apart. Highest inflation for that it's ever been for decades. Gas prices higher than it's ever been. Shortage of supplies of everything. I mean, I went to Red Lobster last night. Hadn't been there, I say probably about 4 or 5 months. I ordered the exact same thing that I ordered probably 80% of the time when I was there. A 6-ounce sirloin with broccoli, iced tea, and a salad. And usually in the past, I've seen it would fluctuate $2 or $3, but with all that, it was around $15, $16. I couldn't even get just the steak, the platter itself, for that much. It runs about $16, $17 a head. I walked out of there without tip. I did put a tip, but without the tip itself, it was over $60 for two. Something that used to cost $48, $49 with tax and all, and now it's over $60 in just a matter of 6 months. And the waitress said, well, let me see if we still got broccoli or not. I don't know if we run out or not. That's something I've never heard before. Running out of items in a restaurant. Now, of course, catch of the day, that's a give me, because they don't know how much they actually got according to how much they have already sold. They didn't know if it's going to last because they didn't know how many people are going to order. But something that's always on the menu and it's getting to the point where it runs out. Simple things like broccoli. It's crazy. I just hope in the midterms something changes and turns it back around. Now, of course, if it does turn around in November, won't take effect really until beginning of the year when things get changed over. So pretty much good luck for Thanksgiving and Christmas buying things, if you could find and afford what you want to get. But just don't listen and let other people control what you do in your life. Take control. Use your time key and turn the key when it's your turn and your time, not when somebody else says it's your turn. I see people that's 40, 50 years old and hadn't got married. I've seen people that's that age and said they're not going to get married. That's just not for them. And some people say, oh, you don't know what you're missing. Well, that person says, well, you don't know what you're missing if you by yourself or just dating for all your life. It's a total different world, and you'll never experience it if you're married. Just do what's right for you. Don't let other people control your life. And you'll have a better, relaxing life that way. Because if they tell you something to do and it don't work out, well, they're not going to lose no sleep over it. They're not going to have to pay the consequences about it. You are. So live and enjoy your life. I've seen people that they want to work, 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 work. They get one job, and they're working 30 hours a week. They get another job, and they work 20 hours a week, the same week as they do the other one. They don't date. They just want to work, make the money. They're always getting up trying to figure out a way to make more money. Then you got some people that stand on the side of the street and hold a sign and say homeless, and you look at the stores on the four corners, it says we're hiring. They're not willing to walk over there and get a job. It's a crying shame. I just hope and pray that something changes and puts this world back the way it was. But I'm going to do what I can do, get it there. Hopefully you do the same.